I'm so happy to be here. Happy to be back in Wisconsin. I think the last time I tried to come to Green Bay, the weather kept us out, but I'm here now. So thank you so much for having me. I'm here in my personal capacity. Deb Haaland, happy to be here. You know, I started my political work organizing. I organized in Indian country all across New Mexico. Volunteered. In fact, I didn't even know that you could get paid for campaign jobs. I volunteered for such a long time. But I'm thrilled to have the opportunity just to chat with you because all of you are the most important part of any campaign. You're the grassroots. You're the ones talking to your neighbors, your friends, the person at the checkout counter at the grocery store, the person making your coffee in the morning. These are all opportunities for us to reach out, to talk to folks in our communities, to make sure that they understand and realize how important this election is. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for being, testifying every day as to the power of this presidency, the power of Democrats to make our world a better place. So, and this fall, of course, we'll have to make a choice. Who do we trust to fight for us, for our families, and for our future? I'm here to tell you that I believe it's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and our Democratic candidates across the state of Wisconsin. Let's remember what it was like before Joe and Kamala took office. Remember that? A deadly pandemic raging, thousands of small businesses shuttering forever, millions of Americans losing their jobs, our democracy hanging by a thread. We were lurching from crisis to crisis, all exacerbated by a chaotic, dangerous president who was only looking out for himself. We were a nation in desperate need of a healing voice and a steady hand. And of course, we found that in President Joe Biden. Bear with me. But now, 3 years later, we're in the middle of a great American comeback story. Did some of you see the State of the Union address? Isn't that amazing? Joe and Kamala, along with Governor Evers, Senator Baldwin, and Wisconsin Democrats are investing in America's middle class, rebuilding our economy from the middle out and the bottom up, and families are starting to see it and feel it in their everyday lives. We've seen a record-shattering 14 million jobs created. That is a big deal. Jobs in every state, across every sector, including what was once thought impossible. More than 800,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs have returned to our shores, many of them union jobs. Main streets across America are booming. Small businesses are launching at a record rate. Latino entrepreneurs are starting new businesses at the fastest rate in over a decade. Black business ownership is growing at the fastest rate in 3 decades. Meanwhile, families are beginning to feel the benefit of President Biden's landmark bipartisan infrastructure investments. We're modernizing roads, bridges, trains, public transit, and more, making communities safer, cleaner, and easier to navigate. If you're a senior, you're already paying much less for your insulin, and you'll soon see lower costs for more prescription drugs because Joe Biden and Democrats took on Big Pharma, and they won. Meanwhile, inflation has cooled, and over the last 6 months, it's held steady at the pre-pandemic level of 2%. In fact, this holiday season, a gallon of gas, a gallon of milk, toys, appliances, electronics, car rentals, and airfare all cost less than they did a year ago. Long story short, prices are down, wages are up, jobs are abundant, and America is building again. It's no surprise that consumer confidence just jumped at the fastest rate in a decade. And even though none of the so-called experts dare to predict that our economy is headed for a soft landing. But that's not all. Joe and Kamala, along with our Wisconsin Democratic congressional members, expanded benefits for veterans exposed to toxic substances. They brokered the first major gun violence law in a generation. They delivered the most consequential climate action in history. And they restored American leadership on the world stage, rallying our allies to defend democracy. That's That's historic progress in just 3 short years. Only made possible because in 2020 and 2022, we marched, we phone banked, we door knocked, we donated, and we voted. So don't let anyone tell you big things can't get done anymore in Washington. President Biden has proved the opposite. We're proving the pundits and the cynics wrong every single day. Of course, the job isn't done. At kitchen tables across the country, families are still worried about the cost of living, the safety of our children, the health of our planet, and the fate of our personal freedoms. And that's what this election is about. Who can we trust to protect the progress we've made and keep fighting for more? If there's one thing we've learned over the last 3 years, it's that having elected officials who care about you and care about your family and not just themselves make a world of difference. Joe and Kamala and our Wisconsin Democratic candidates believe in an America where everybody has a fair shot at a better life. No matter where you're from, what you make, how you pray, or who you love, where opportunity abounds and Americans have more freedom than their parents did, not less, not fewer freedoms. And that's what our Democratic officials are working hard every day to build. And their record of results is proof positive that they deserve an opportunity to finish the job. But as President Biden always says, don't compare him to the Almighty, compare him to the alternative. Right? So let's remember who will be on the other side of your ballot. The Republicans are going to nominate the twice impeached, criminally indicted, and I voted to impeach him when I was in Congress. Criminally indicted, disgraced, and defeated former President Donald Trump. We all lived through those long 4 years that he was in office. Every day brought chaos, crisis, and corruption, as he put his own interests ahead of those of you and me. Remember going to sleep at night, wondering what you'd find on his Twitter feed the next day and what would be in the news. Everything wrapped around all of the crazy things that he was saying every day, and nothing about what the real issues were and the things that we all cared about. Except this time, he's not even trying to hide it. He's telling us loud and clear exactly what he plans to do, with help from his MAGA Republican allies who were also on the ballot. He promised to terminate the Affordable Care Act. He pledged to be a dictator on day one. He declared that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. He told insurrectionists who tried to end American democracy, "I am your retribution." He vowed to go after those who dare defy him, using the full might of the federal government. If he gets back into power, make no mistake, he will take a wrecking ball to the foundations of our democracy, and that means we have no choice but to beat him again. We know what he plans to do, and we know what all the other MAGA acolytes who openly support him, or those who fail to stand up to him, plan to do as well. It's the same extreme, far-right agenda Republican candidates put forward year after year after year. They want to rig the economy for the ultra-rich, gut Social Security and Medicare, rip away health care, outlaw abortion, pollute our planet, undermine our elections, and diminish America's standing in the world. As our economy and our democracy continue to recover from the chaos of Donald Trump, we simply can't afford to turn back to the dark, dangerous time. The stakes in this election couldn't be higher. And I know every single election, we all say this is the most important election of our lifetime. And it turns out that that's always true. Right? So that is something that we have to internalize. And it's up to us, it's up to all of us to make sure that President Biden gets reelected. As our economy and our democracy continue to recover, the stakes in this election couldn't be higher. In November, our nation will choose between two dramatically different visions for our future. MAGA Republicans see a land of carnage. Joe and Kamala and the Democrats see a land of possibilities. MAGA Republicans see a failed state. Joe and Kamala and the Democrats see the greatest country that all of us have built together. MAGA Republicans see Americans as angry and divided. Joe, Kamala, and the Democrats know we can still do anything as long as we do it together. That's the future that Joe and Kamala and our Wisconsin Democratic candidates are fighting for. And I'm ready to fight like hell to make sure that they all get reelected. So join us. This is a campaign powered by people. That's how we won in 2020 and 2022, and it's how change has always come in our country. Generation after generation, everyday Americans have stepped forward to make our union a little more perfect. As Joe Biden says, we're in a battle for the soul of America. The battle is far from over, but by choosing freedom over fear, hope over hatred, democracy over division, we've started to turn the tide. Now together, let's finish the job.